Money is the best lotion.
Yeah.
So
There for 90 days! Ain't nobody grow up like us. Ain't nobody grow up. There'll never be another generation of kids like us.
Do you remember Bill Bellamy, the guy who owned MTV back in the 90s? His wild energy and smooth charm had everyone glued to their TVs. Bill wasn't just another host. He made history when he dropped the phrase booty call on national television, and boom, it became a full-blown pop culture catchphrase that everybody was saying.
You know what? I would tell all the young, women and men, like, be courageous, take a chance, If you want to be an actor, man, take some classes. You want to come out here in LA, get out here.
Back then, folks were convinced Bill was about to be the next big Hollywood name, the kind that could shine right alongside Chris Tucker or Jamie Foxx. But just when things couldn't get any hotter, Bill Bellamy suddenly disappeared from the spotlight.
Don't be scared of the possibilities. You can always get another job, but you can't always get another dream.
No big scandal, no official goodbye, not even a hint of what was going on. He just vanished. Fans were confused, the industry was whispering, and everyone was asking the same thing: where did Bill go? For years, nobody had a clue what really went down. Then out of nowhere, Bill came back, and when he finally told his story, jaws dropped.
I went to see Beyonce and Jay-Z. I literally went to see Beyonce. Because that's my boo-boo.
He spilled secrets about the chaos behind the scenes at MTV, messy power struggles in Hollywood, and even shared how he faced a terrifying near-death moment that almost ended everything for him. What Bill revealed shook the entire entertainment world and made people look at his disappearance in a totally new light.
But, I just wanted to see if she feel the way I feel about her, you know what I'm saying? I just want to see if we on the same page, you know what I'm talking about.
But before the fame and cameras, Bill came from a tough place, Newark, New Jersey. In the 70s and 80s, that city was struggling hard. Factories shut down, jobs were gone, and crime was running wild. It wasn't a city that made stars, it was a city where people had to fight just to survive.
Out of nowhere, Beyonce just comes out the stage above everybody in this see-through, like, negligee body on smash. I was like, oh shit, this bitch a ghost.
Bill Bellamy was born on April 7th, 1965, to a hardworking father, William Bellamy Sr., who put in long hours doing heavy warehouse labor. His story started in struggle, but it was just the beginning of something unbelievable. Bill's mom, Edna Bellamy, was the backbone of the family, a real fighter. She worked every job she could find, cleaning houses, waiting tables, doing whatever it took to take care of her 3 kids. Whenever sirens blared through the streets, she'd grab little Bill and pull him inside fast.
I learned some shit I never knew in my life. I didn't know that the wealthiest people in the country don't pay taxes. I did not know that. I did not know that.
His dad would always warn him, go straight home, don't stop, don't look around. In this neighborhood, standing in the wrong spot can get you killed. But then tragedy hit hard, and the kind that never really fades. Bill lost his younger brother, nicknamed Heavy, the sweetest kid in the family. Heavy followed Bill everywhere, always smiling, always tagging along. One hot summer night, Heavy was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. 2 gangs started fighting nearby, and one stray bullet changed everything.
It is unbelievable how wealthy people keep their money, because they smart than the motherfucker. Play the game to win. I'm gonna teach y'all some motherfucking game for free.
Heavy fell to the ground on the same street Bill always thought was safe. When Bill ran to him, everything went silent. His world froze in that single heartbreaking moment. He later said that from that day on, the world felt cold and unfair. Losing his brother left a scar that never healed, but it also lit a fire in him, a voice in his head saying, I have to get out of here no matter what.
Do you know if you move every 90 days, you don't pay taxes where you don't live because it's not your permanent residence? I suggest you motherfuckers start moving.
In all that pain, Bill found one thing that gave him light: comedy. At school, he was teased for wearing old clothes and living on the rough side of town, but instead of throwing punches, he threw jokes. He learned fast that laughter could protect him better than fists ever could. Soon, everyone wanted to hang around him because he was hilarious. Man, Bill tells stories better than TV, but not everyone believed in him.
You ever notice that wealthy people always have yachts? You ever notice that wealthy people always have these beautiful yachts? You know why? Because the water is motherfucking free.
One teacher even looked him straight in the eyes and said, "You won't amount to anything." Those words stung deep, but they also sparked something powerful inside him. Right then, 12-year-old Bill made a silent promise. One day, all of you are gonna know my name. And wow, he wasn't wrong. After college, Bill Bellamy was living two lives. By day, he was a student at Rutgers University, trying to make his parents proud, but his heart wasn't in textbooks, it was chasing laughs. Every night, while everyone else studied, Bill snuck onto a 30-minute train to New York City, the land of flashing lights, wild dreams, and heartbreak around every corner. New York in the 80s was no joke. It was the kind of place that could crown you a star or crush you in a single night.
I just bought me a canoe today. My ass gonna be out.
Open mics were packed with hungry performers, the lights were hot, and the crowd, brutal. If you bombed, they let you know, loud and clear. Respect wasn't given, it had to be earned. Bill walked into that scene with nothing but guts. No mentor, no money, no fancy clothes, just pure determination. But he had something deeper than most. He had survived Newark. After seeing what real pain looked like back home, a rowdy comedy crowd was nothing.
I'm lubed up. Thank you guys, thank you so much. I think the secret is being happy and loving what you do.
He started from the bottom, stepping onto tiny stages where the MC would yell, "Who's brave enough to try?" And the crowd waited, ready to laugh at you, not with you. Some nights Bill got booed, mocked, even had cups thrown his way, but he didn't quit. Every night he got back up sharper and stronger, using every punchline to push himself further from the darkness he grew up in.
That you gotta laugh a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You gotta laugh, like, stress will age you, and and you gotta go to bed.
No, that's right.
Go to bed!
That's right, go to bed.
I remember when my mom used to say, go to bed. I didn't understand. You do have to go to bed sometime. Go lay down. Go lay down.
Go lay down.
Then came the night that flipped everything. Amateur night at the Apollo Theater, a stage famous for making or breaking careers. If the crowd didn't like you, they'd raise the boo sign and drag you off in seconds. Bill stepped out under those blinding lights, and that moment changed his entire life. Most comics froze before finishing their first joke at the Apollo, but not Bill Bellamy. He stood tall under those blinding lights, carrying all the pain of Newark in his chest. And somehow, he flipped that pain into laughter.
I'll probably go to bed late, but like when I'm home, I'm usually going to bed by 9:30, 10.
By 9:30, all the lights out.
Yeah.
The crowd cracked up, then cheered, and before he knew it, the whole room was on its feet. That wasn't just applause, that was New York saying, "This kid's got it." From that night on, Bill's name spread through the comedy scene like wildfire. Everyone was talking about the kid from Newark who could turn heartbreak into humor. Then came the night that changed everything. The night MTV found him.
You so used to a routine.
Yeah.
So you gotta get, it take a minute for you to go, we don't have to do that. We could go to the movies at 12 o'clock in the afternoon.
Inside a tiny packed Manhattan club, sweat dripping off the walls, Bill told a story about his family, about Heavy, his younger brother who'd been taken too soon, and about growing up with fear, but never giving in to it. The audience laughed 1 second, then went silent the next, completely hooked. Among them sat a producer from MTV watching every move. A few days later, Bill's phone rang. "We're calling from MTV."
Or we could go catch it early. You know what I'm doing now, which is cute, is we do those happy hours.
Ah.
Yeah, and they real happy.
He almost dropped the phone in shock. The kid who once dodged danger on Newark streets was now being invited to audition for the biggest network in the country. Bill showed up calm but ready. The second he spoke, the room went quiet and then burst into laughter. The producers looked at each other and said, "We found him." That was it, the moment that launched a legend.
We could do anything, use our imagination anytime, anywhere. We used to really believe when we played freeze tag, we was frozen.
They didn't just find a host, they found the voice that would help define an entire decade. Bill Bellamy was about to become one of the most unforgettable faces of the 90s, the era when MTV ruled everything. MTV in the 90s was the heartbeat of youth, loud, bold, and unstoppable. And when Bill Bellamy hit the scene, he didn't just join the wave, he became it.
Kids be what's wrong with that boy? He froze. That's a deep freeze. He ain't gonna be able to get out of that for 2 hours.
He stormed into MTV jams like a hurricane, smooth, confident, and full of energy that lit up the screen the second he said, "Yo, what's up, everybody?" From day one, Bill had the whole country watching. He brought a vibe nobody at MTV had before.
That is a lot of ice. I tell they put ice on him. Yeah, boy.
Swagger mixed with warmth, confidence that felt natural, and a spark that made every artist relax like they were talking to their best friend. Within months, Bill wasn't just another host, he was the reason people turned on their TVs. Producers said ratings jumped every time he was on air, and music stars started requesting him by name. Bill's interviews became legendary. He could sit down with Tupac, Biggie, Aaliyah, Snoop Dogg, Diddy, and every single one of them felt comfortable around him. They laughed, joked, and dropped their guard because Bill had that rare realness you couldn't fake. He wasn't just interviewing stars, he was part of the culture itself. Then came MTV Beach House, the show that made Bill a nationwide superstar. Imagine crowds packed shoulder to shoulder, music thumping, cameras spinning, and fans screaming every time Bill hit the stage. He didn't just host the party, he owned it. His jokes, his smile, his energy, it was pure summer magic. By then, Bill Bellamy wasn't just famous, he was everywhere. MTV made him a star, but his stand-up made him unstoppable. His comedy tours sold out from New York to LA, and his nightly pay skyrocketed, from just a few $100 to 5 times that in only 2 years. In the 90s, MTV was more than a channel. It was the heartbeat of youth, wild and untouchable. And when Bill Bellamy stepped in, he didn't ride the wave, he became the wave. He hit MTV jams like a storm, smooth and fearless, lighting up the screen every time he shouted, "Yo, what's up, everybody?" The moment he appeared, you couldn't look away. From day one, Bill had something special, that mix of cool confidence and real warmth that made him stand out. He wasn't trying too hard, he just was the moment. Within months, his name was buzzing everywhere. Ratings shot up every time he was on, and stars began saying, "If Bill's not hosting, we'll wait." His interviews became the stuff of legend. Bill could sit down with Tupac, Biggie, Aaliyah, Snoop Dogg, or Diddy and instantly make them laugh like they were chilling with a friend. He didn't just ask questions, he connected. That authenticity made artists open up, and fans could feel it through the screen. Then came MTV Beach House, and Bill went from famous to superstar. Picture it, the ocean behind him, the crowd going wild, music booming, and cameras spinning nonstop. Every time he cracked a joke or flashed that grin, the beach exploded with cheers. No one hosted like him. He brought pure summer energy to every scene. By now, Bill Bellamy was unstoppable. He was the face of MTV, the voice of an entire generation. And while TV made him a star, it was stand-up comedy that secured his empire. His tours packed out theaters coast to coast, and his paychecks, they exploded, jumping from just a few $100 a night to 5 times that in record time. In no time, Bill Bellamy went from getting small club checks to pulling in serious money. Early on, he was making $5,000 to $10,000 a night, and for bigger venues, up to $20,000. Summer events, they shelled out $40,000 just to have Bill show up for half an hour. That's how powerful his name had become. And remember, this was a time when TV didn't hand the spotlight to black entertainers easily. But Bill kicked that door wide open. He became the first black mainstream host to reach nationwide fame, paving the way for legends like Sway Calloway, Lala Anthony, and Terrence J. He wasn't just winning, he was changing the game. Then came the moment that turned into a pop culture earthquake, the birth of Booty Call. During one MTV segment, Bill casually joked, "So what's up with those late night booty calls?" It sounded like nothing special at the time, but America went wild. The studio laughed, then the whole country started saying it. Before long, Booty Call was everywhere. In songs, movies, and everyday talk. Bill had accidentally created slang history. Hollywood couldn't ignore him anymore. They saw his spark. MTV made Bill famous, but Hollywood turned him into a full-blown entertainer. After MTV, scripts and offers came flooding in, but Bill didn't coast on fame. He auditioned like a pro, ready to earn every role. His big break came in 1997 with How to Be a Player. Hollywood didn't just give him a role, they built the movie around him. It became a box office hit and a timeless classic in black culture. Soon after, Bill found himself sharing the screen with Al Pacino, Jamie Foxx, Cameron Diaz, and LL Cool J in Oliver Stone's blockbuster film, proving once and for all he was more than a host. He was a star! Any Given Sunday. That was the moment everything changed. Bill Bellamy was no longer just a funny guy or a TV host. He had become a full-blown entertainer. After his breakout success, Hollywood came calling hard. Studios were ready to throw serious money his way, $750,000 to $1 million per major movie deal. Starring alongside heavyweights in Any Given Sunday proved he could hold his own with the best. Thanks to MTV's massive reach, Bill became the golden face of youth culture. Everywhere he went, crowds lit up. If you listed the top 10 icons of the 90s, Bill Bellamy had to be on it. He represented the energy, confidence, and laughter that defined the entire decade. He was MTV's crown jewel, smooth, funny, and unstoppable. But just when everything looked perfect, the cracks started to show. Quietly, behind the cameras, whispers, jealousy, and hidden power games started creeping in. Hollywood can lift you up fast, but it can also turn cold just as quickly. Inside MTV, things got tense. The bigger Bill became, the more some execs saw him as a threat. He was getting too much attention, too much love, too much influence. One night backstage, he overheard a high-level producer say, "We made him, and we can get rid of him anytime." That hit hard. Soon after, MTV started changing direction, chasing a new audience with reality shows instead of music. And with that shift, the old-school VJs like Bill Bellamy, Carson Daly, and Daisy Fuentes started fading out of the schedule. Bill's hosting gigs were suddenly cut, some even replaced at the last minute. Just like that, the same network that made him a superstar started acting like he was never there. Whispers started circling fast. People said MTV wanted to wipe out any face that had gotten too powerful. Bill Bellamy never confirmed it, but everyone could see the truth. He was slowly being pushed aside, like the Bill Bellamy era never happened. Some even claimed he was blacklisted. Bill was always known for being real, maybe too real for Hollywood. He didn't play the fake game. If a show's format was weak, he said so. If a producer disrespected artists, he called it out. And if something felt unfair, he refused to stay quiet. But that honesty came with a price, because in this business, the loudest voices often get silenced. Behind closed doors, people started whispering, "Bill talks too much." By 2001, things hit rock bottom. MTV stopped calling him back. Reunion specials, anniversary events, throwback shows, everyone from his era was invited except Bill. No statement, no email, just a cold silence that said it all. It felt like he'd been erased from the network he helped build. And it wasn't just MTV. Tension with a few celebrities started bubbling up too. Some artists didn't vibe with Bill's style. Certain West Coast rappers, especially those tied to Ice Cube, felt he came off too corporate, too clean for the street image they lived by. Cube was even rumored to have said backstage, "Bill's cool, but he's too MTV." Even LL Cool J reportedly wasn't happy about Bill asking personal questions during interviews, feeling like it got too familiar for TV. Others admitted privately that Bill's charm, confidence, and looks made them uneasy. They were scared he'd steal the spotlight right from under them. Bill Bellamy had become too bright for an industry that didn't like to share the light. The sad twist in Bill Bellamy's story was this: the people who didn't like him spoke up quietly, but the ones who loved him stayed silent. In the end, Bill got caught between two worlds, hip-hop and mainstream Hollywood, and both sides hit him hard. Just a few years earlier, he was untouchable. MTV at his feet, Hollywood within reach, America laughing with him. But suddenly, the same system that built him up began tearing him down. It happened fast, like a strong wind blowing out one of the brightest flames of the 90s. Around 2003, MTV itself started to collapse from the inside. The new execs didn't want music shows anymore. They wanted easy drama, reality TV, and scripted real-life chaos. Shows like The Real World, Laguna Beach, and The Hills took over, while the true soul of MTV, music, interviews, and culture, got wiped out. When MTV's music era died, Bill Bellamy's time there ended too. But the worst part, he didn't choose to leave. Bill later said, "I woke up one morning and realized the show I loved was gone. Not because it stopped being good, but because they didn't want it anymore." One day, he was the golden face of the network. The next, his name wasn't on any schedule. No firing, no warning, no fight, just silence. The kind of silence that says, "We've moved on and you're not coming with us." MTV had lost its soul, and Bill had lost his biggest stage. But his challenges were only getting started, because while MTV faded, Hollywood, his second home, was getting ready to hit him even harder. And the problem wasn't talent, it was the system itself. The real problem wasn't Bill Bellamy's talent. It was that Hollywood changed faster than anyone could keep up. By the early 2000s, the golden age of black comedies, Friday, House Party, Booty Call, How to Be a Player, was suddenly over. Studios stopped funding those kinds of films, and audiences shifted toward awkward white-led comedies or light action flicks. The roles Bill once owned simply vanished from the script pages. And when those roles did show up, they were smaller. Background characters, sidekicks, or the funny best friend who disappears halfway through the movie. But Bill refused to settle. He didn't want to be a stereotype. He wanted real, layered, powerful roles that showed his full range. Hollywood, though, had other plans. They wanted him to stay in the box, charming, smooth, and nothing more. During one audition, a producer looked him dead in the eye and said, "We're looking for someone less slick, less good looking." That wasn't feedback, it was coded bias. It was Hollywood saying black stars couldn't look too polished, too leading man ready. Bill walked out of that room knowing he hadn't just lost MTV, he was losing Hollywood too. Then came a whole new wave of comedy. Kevin Hart exploded onto the scene, Cat Williams, Mike Epps, Cedric the Entertainer. they all became the fresh faces of the new era. They mastered social media, viral clips, and Netflix specials, tools that didn't exist when Bill was on top. While the world sprinted forward, Bill was still trying to find his place, battling frustration and loss. Within just a few years, the name that once made America laugh and cheer became one people barely mentioned. And behind the fame fading came something deeper, an identity crisis. Bill started asking himself, am I still a host, a comedian, an actor? Bill Bellamy found himself stuck in the middle of three worlds, and none of them fully wanted him anymore. MTV had made him a legend, but nobody saw him as a traditional host. Hollywood loved his charm, but never gave him a steady lane. And though stand-up was his home turf, the new wave of comedians like Dave Chappelle, Chris Rock, and Kevin Hart now ruled the stage. Bill stood at a crossroads where every direction looked foggy and uncertain. As his fame, audience, and direction slipped away, Bill slowly faded from the spotlight. No scandal, no public meltdown, just silence. One day he was everywhere, the next he was gone. The world had gotten faster, younger, and colder. The man who once owned the stage became a mystery, an icon swallowed by time. But what the public didn't see was that while his career was falling apart, his personal life was struggling too. Bill had married Kristen Baker, later Kristen Bellamy, on June 16, 2001. The media called them couple goals. Friends said they were one of Hollywood's sweetest pairs. But behind the smiles, life wasn't easy. When MTV moved on and Hollywood changed direction, Bill's income dropped hard. The money and momentum of the 90s were gone, replaced by uncertainty and stress. Kristen saw the pain up close, the pressure of bills, fading fame, and the weight of trying to stay strong when everything felt unstable. There were times when they barely spoke for days, not out of anger, but exhaustion. The world had changed faster than either of them could handle. Still, through every rumor and rough patch, they never gave up on each other. Their love took hits, but they kept fighting. Not for fame, but for family. In a 2023 interview, Kristen Bellamy spoke honestly about their marriage, saying, "It's not always as glamorous as the red carpet. We have our lows too." Bill smiled and replied, "Without Kristen, I probably would have lost my way." But even love gets tested. And for Bill, that test came between 2010 and 2015. While he was back on the road doing stand-up tours, social media started buzzing with infidelity rumors linking him to a younger colleague. No photos, no proof, no witnesses, just talk. But in the internet age, rumors don't need facts to do damage. Kristen stood by him, but she later admitted the gossip hurt deeply. She said the tension got so bad, there were nights the family could hardly eat or sleep. Bill stayed silent through it all. No interviews, no statements, nothing. During one comedy show, he even joked, "I realized something. The less I say, the fewer problems I have." The crowd laughed, but those close to him knew that line came from pain, not humor. Then came 2020, the year everything changed again. When COVID-19 swept through the country, Bill got hit hard. His body shut down fast. High fever, pneumonia, and trouble breathing. He was rushed to the hospital with dangerously low oxygen levels. Doctors told the Bellamy family, "The next few hours will decide everything." Kristen stood outside his isolation room, watching through the glass, while their two kids stood behind her, silent and terrified. Bill later shared, "I didn't know if I was going to make it. Every time I closed my eyes, I thought about my little brother." It was a moment that brought his whole life into focus. Fame, loss, love, and survival, all crashing together in one terrifying fight to stay alive. Bill survived, but when he walked out of that hospital, he wasn't the same unstoppable star the world remembered. He was a man who had looked death in the eye and realized life was shorter than he ever imagined. Everything suddenly felt heavier. Over time, the real reason for Bill's quiet disappearance started to unfold. The loss of his younger brother back in the 80s had always been the deepest wound of his life. Comedy was how he hid the pain. Work was how he escaped it. But when his career slowed and the spotlight faded, that buried grief came rushing back stronger than ever. Then came more heartbreak. Bill lost people close to him, a beloved uncle, a cousin who felt like an older sister, and a childhood friend who'd been there since day one. One funeral after another wore him down until he faced the one thing he'd always feared most: loneliness. When his career, health, and world all started changing at once, Bill did the only thing he could. He stepped back. He started saying no more often. Fewer shows, fewer interviews, fewer public moments. Not because he gave up, but because he was trying to protect the last pieces of himself that still felt whole. Bill didn't retire, he just went quiet, almost like he needed to hear his own heartbeat again after years of chaos. But here's what shocked everyone. While Bill Bellamy faded from the spotlight, his finances didn't fade with him. Unlike most 90s stars who vanished broke or forgotten, Bill had made smart moves behind the scenes. His name might have disappeared from TV screens, but his hustle never stopped. While many stars from Bill Bellamy's era ended up overspending or going broke, Bill played the long game. Personal finance sources estimate his net worth between $8 to $10 million, which is incredible for someone who's been mostly off the Hollywood radar for nearly 15 years. Unlike some celebs who lived loud and flashy, Bill kept it smart. No wild spending, no crazy mansions, no drama. He handled his money like a businessman, slow, steady, and strategic. Even when TV gigs disappeared, he never walked away from stand-up comedy. That stage became his financial lifeline. From 2010 to today, Bill's been on the road nonstop, touring theaters from Las Vegas to Atlantic City. He's not selling out stadiums like Kevin Hart or headlining global tours like Dave Chappelle, but his shows always fill up, keeping his income strong year after year. As one veteran comic once said, Bill will never be broke. As long as he can hold a mic, he's good. Instead of chasing blockbusters, Bill chased stability. He quietly built a safety net. Smart real estate investments across California. Not giant mansions or wild luxury homes, but safe, solid properties. A house in Sherman Oaks, another in Encino, plus a few small spots in Orange County. He never bragged, never flashed wealth, but everyone in the business knew Bill Bellamy was one of the few who kept his fortune by being careful, not careless. And now, after nearly 2 decades of silence, something big is happening again. A whole generation grew up not even knowing his name, MTV forgot its music roots, and Hollywood moved on. But Bill, he's quietly preparing for a comeback that nobody saw coming. For years, everyone thought Bill Bellamy was just a memory, a name from another era. But then, out of nowhere, he came back stronger than ever. With the calm of a survivor and the energy of a fighter, Bill re-entered the spotlight. And this time, it wasn't through MTV, movies, or Hollywood. It started somewhere completely unexpected, a podcast. When Bill launched Top Billin' with Bill Bellamy, nobody saw it coming. The setup was simple, just Bill sharing real behind-the-scenes stories from his wild 90s days, but the impact, massive. Within weeks, clips from his show exploded across TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram, pulling in millions of views. People couldn't get enough. Why? Because Bill wasn't just talking. He was documenting history. He's a living archive of 90s hip-hop and entertainment. Fans heard stories no one else could tell. Tupac laughing backstage like a kid, Biggie confiding that he didn't know how much time he had left, Aaliyah being shy yet powerful, and Ice Cube cracking up at a joke Bill never aired on MTV. These weren't just stories. They were emotional time capsules. Every word hit deep, giving fans chills. For Gen Z, it was an introduction. For millennials, a wave of nostalgia. Bill wasn't chasing trends. He was reclaiming his legacy. Within months, Top Billin' became one of the hottest podcasts online, making a whole new generation ask, wait, who is Bill Bellamy and how is he this cool? And just when people thought that was the end of his comeback, Bill stepped right back onto the stage that once saved his life, stand-up comedy. After years of performing only here and there, Bill Bellamy did something no one saw coming. He went all in on stand-up again. Just like his early days at the Apollo Theater, he hit the stage with raw energy and fearless passion. No one knew where he found that fire again, but the moment he grabbed the mic, it was clear Bill Bellamy was back and stronger than ever. His new shows hit hard, funny, emotional, and brutally honest. He talks about Newark, Hollywood's fake side, and what it's like to lose fame, then fight to rebuild it. Every joke hits deep, a mix of pain, truth, and classic Bill Bellamy charm, and the result, sold-out shows everywhere. Old school fans show up for nostalgia, while Gen Z crowds come out to see that cool uncle from TikTok. By the end, everyone's on their feet, clapping and cheering. And guess what? Hollywood started calling again. But here's the twist. It wasn't the old school execs this time. It was Gen Z and millennial filmmakers, the kids who grew up watching MTV, Tupac, and 90s culture, now saying we need a real OG, not someone pretending to be one, the real deal. In the last 2 years, Bill's name has been everywhere again. Talk shows, radio spots, late-night appearances, cameos, even mentor and major acting roles. The same industry that once pushed him out is now welcoming him back like a legend. And fans can't believe it, because Bill Bellamy still looks incredible in his mid-50s. The smile, the confidence, the energy, it's like time paused just for him. The comeback, oh, it's real. And in this time, it's on his terms. One big reason Bill Bellamy's comeback exploded is simple. People can't believe how good he still looks. Gen Z and millennials are shocked that at over 55, Bill looks younger than most stars from his era. And it's not just talk. Scroll through TikTok or Instagram and you'll see the comments, how does he still look like this? His clips keep going viral because people aren't just remembering him. They're amazed by how timeless he seems. It's wild. Bill doesn't just look like he never left the stage, he acts like it too. His energy, his storytelling, his sharp humor, all of it feels just as alive as in his MTV days. Fans keep saying that Bill hasn't just made a comeback, he's proving that time has been unusually kind to him. But Bill Bellamy's legacy goes way deeper than his looks. He wasn't just an MTV VJ, not just a comedian, not just the star of How to Be a Player. He was a cultural connector. He helped open doors for black entertainers to step into the mainstream without watering themselves down. Bill brought realness, humor, and heart to a generation that needed all three. He was the laughter that softened the edges of the 90s, the bridge that connected Tupac, Biggie, Aaliyah, Diddy, Snoop, and Ice Cube to millions watching at home. And let's not forget, he gave the world the phrase booty call, a piece of pop culture that will never die. Bill Bellamy's story isn't just about fame, it's about legacy, resilience, and lasting impact. If his journey inspired you, drop a comment and tell us which MTV era or Bill Bellamy moment you remember most. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.